Let's see what's cooking. It's time for Yo-Yo Max 12.
Hello everyone, today we're making heart cookies that would be perfect for Valentine's Day. First you're going to start off with a basic cookie dough. Now the best kind of cookie dough for this would be what they call a refrigerator or an icebox cookie dough, and that's the kind that you make, roll up into a log shape, refrigerate, and then slice up prior to baking. The recipe I'm showing here I've actually done before on my channel, and it is the base to the cherry cheesecake cookies that I posted last year around Christmas time. So I'm going to put the recipe in the description box below if you want to use this one. It's actually quite good. Once you make up your cookie dough, you're going to slice off a third of it and place it into another bowl. And then you're going to add some paste food coloring to this to tint it a really nice shade of pink. You could use liquid food coloring in this as well. However, liquid food coloring has a tendency to make cookie doughs maybe a little bit too sticky. So stir in the food coloring until you get a nice uniform color to the dough. And then you're going to refrigerate this. First wrap it up in some parchment paper like I'm doing here, or simply put it into a ziplock bag and refrigerate it for a couple of hours until it's easy to handle, or pop it into the freezer for 30 or 40 minutes. That works as well. And you're going to do the same thing with the white portion of the dough. So once the dough is chilled, you're going to take the red portion and roll it out into a log shape. And I made this one about 8 inches long. Then form the heart. Now a heart is basically a V shape at the bottom, and that has two little rounded humps on the top. So that's what I'm forming here at the bottom of the heart. I'm trying to get the V shape in place, and I found it sticking to the countertop, so I put it on some parchment paper. So once you have a kind of V shape at the bottom, you're going to work on making the top part of the heart, which is kind of like making a trench along one side of it, using a butter knife just to deepen it a little bit. And then just continue to mold it until you get something that looks like a really long heart. And try to make it as smooth as possible on the outside. And you can see here, you can see the heart shape, how it works out. And then you're going to put this back into the freezer for about 30 minutes until it's very firm. Now for the white dough, you are going to divide it into thirds. And 2/3 of it you're going to form into 3 log shapes. One smaller one about the size of a hot dog, and the other 2 slightly larger, about, let's say, double the size. And the final third portion, just put it aside and we'll do something with that in a minute. So take the dough and form it into 3 log shapes. And the length of the log shape will be the same as the heart shape that you made already. Once the 3 log shapes are done, you're going to place those in the freezer for about 30 minutes until they are firm. Exact length doesn't matter as long as they're about the same length as the heart shape that you made prior. And the final piece of dough, place it between sheets of wax paper or parchment paper and roll it out to make a rough rectangle. The length of the rectangle will be the same length as the heart shape that you made. The width, not as important. However, just make it so that it's very thin, about 1/4 inch thick. Now the heart shape has thoroughly chilled. It's nice and firm. Just go over it again and to reshape it to make sure that it's nice and smooth and that it's the shape that you want it to be. As you can see, it's a very long heart. Tapping the ends just to make them flat. And then we're going to attach the white pieces. Now take the smaller of the 3 logs that you made and just pinch the top a little bit so that it makes like a V shape. Then using a pastry brush, just brush a little bit of milk into the top of the heart. The milk just makes it easier for the 2 doughs to stick together. That's all. You could also use water if you'd like. Then press that V shape of the smaller log into the heart, top of the heart, and just press it in so that the two doughs are very well stuck together. And then turn it around, and once again brush it with a little bit of milk. Take one of the larger of the logs that you made and just press it onto the heart shape. And you're going to want to cover all of the red, so just kind of spread it around and cover all of that one side, and then the same thing with the other side. Brush it with a bit of milk, attach the log shape, and just using your fingers, just spread it all the way around so that you don't see any more red. And then just kind of roll it on the countertop a little bit just to round it off just a bit to make it nice and smooth. But don't press too hard because you don't want to deform the heart shape inside, of course. And that's why freezing the heart shape is important, because it'll help keep it from deforming while you're doing this step. Then all you have to do is just wrap that last piece of dough that you rolled flat around the log shape, and then just work with it a little bit by pressing all the edges and sealing up the ends and making sure that all of those layers of dough are nicely stuck together. And then roll it gently on the countertop just to round it off to make so that you have nice round cookies at the end. And then wrap it up and freeze it in the freezer for about 45 minutes or in the refrigerator for 2-3 hours. You want it to be very chilled. Then slice it with a sharp knife into 1/4-inch slices, and then place them on a cookie sheet that's been greased or covered in parchment paper, or in this case, a silicone mat. Bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes until the bottoms are lightly browned and the edges are lightly browned. And if you're having trouble slicing them, it's probably because your dough wasn't chilled enough. Here are the completed cookies, ready to give away to someone special in a gift box, in a gift bag maybe, or you could even individually package them in little Valentine's Day plastic bags. These are really good cookies. They have a nice little bit of a cream cheese flavor to them. They are soft but slightly crunchy and delicious. So why don't you give them a try?